God is very real. Hell is very real.
Now, do you believe that God is real? Do you know? You know.
How do you know?
Because he exists in my life. I know he's real.
So by direct divine implantation of the idea into your brain, you know.
It's not an idea that's been put in my head. I know this for real. Everybody has been touched, has been healed.
Can I ask you a quick question about healing? Do you believe that, like, if you pray for somebody and you're faithful and believe that God will heal them?
I believe it wholeheartedly.
Then why won't God heal amputees? In the entire history of the world, there's no documented evidence of anybody being prayed for and spontaneously regenerating a limb that has been lopped off. You hear claims about God healing, cancer, but we know that cancer can often go into remission on its own. And a number of other illnesses. I've got a headache and I took an aspirin and prayed and God took away my headache. But if prayer works, why won't God heal amputees? Or Down syndrome children, or any number of other things which would ordinarily be considered completely impossible? Why don't we see that happen?
God heals amputees, he heals cancer here.
Can you provide a single instance of God healing an amputee?
No, I don't know.
So basically what you're saying is you believe this to be true, despite the fact that you have no evidence to support that.
No, I have seen people, seen people. I'm trying to tell you, if you believe what you believe, there's no God, there's no hell, nothing. You get all the way when the world ends and come to find out there is a God, and would you want to be on the right side of God instead of the left side?
I would like to think that if there was a God and he really was as benevolent as people say, that he would be able to understand that the reason I didn't believe in him was because he did not give me enough compelling evidence to believe in him. But despite that, I still lived my life as a good person. I still practice charity and do volunteer work and help other people's lives. Yeah. And therefore, I would still be on his good side anyway.
What if when you die, you find out that Christianity was wrong and the Hindus were right?
No.
No, I mean, it's the exact same position that you're asking us about. You are making this thing that if I die and find out that the Christian God was true, that all of a sudden I'm screwed because I didn't believe. But the same is true if some other idea of God is true, or if the idea that no God is true. You're using something called Pascal's wager, and it's so fundamentally flawed because just like if I die and the Christian God is true, I suppose I have to face some sort of judgment. I'd stand up there as a man and say I was wrong and then start asking questions because he's got a lot to answer for if there is any God. In your case, if you die and your idea of God is wrong but somebody else is in, then you're in exactly the same boat that I'm in.
Well, I'm saying, brother, it's like this. Oh, that old saying, my way, highway?
Yeah?
It's either God's way or no.
Which God?
The only one true God.
According to you, the only one true God, but there are many people who make all kinds of claims about who the one true God is. Well, I have no way of telling if any of them are correct, but I can't, and they can't all be correct, but they can all be wrong.
I'm assuming you read the Bible, right?
Yeah, lots of times.
Lots of times, and when you read it and you get an understanding of it, you mean to say that everything in this Bible is wrong?
Everything? No. Are you saying you believe every word in the Bible and that we should live by every word? That it's
no.
If your children are unruly, you're to take them to the edge of town and stone them. Because that's in the Bible. That's an order.
It says in the instead of Lord for the child.
No, you got to read the whole Bible, my brother. You can't just come in with the verse you like.
No, that's
you just told me that all of it's valid. You just told me that all of it is valid and binding. And when I point you to a verse in Leviticus that says you're supposed to stone unruly children to death, you come up with an alternate verse of spare the rod, spoil the child. You don't believe that it's all true and orders from God?
I believe that. I believe my Bible wholeheartedly.
So why don't you stone your children at the edge of town?
If I take my child out and stone him, I'll be locked up.
But the Bible tells you you're supposed to do it.
The Bible commands it.
See,
I can quote you the verse from the Bible where it commands it.
We're not twisting it around. It's very, very clear. And it's in the same patch of verses that talks about how homosexuality is an abomination. So if you're not willing to live up to the stone your children at the edge of town, why on earth should you believe that any other passage is correct?
Okay.
You're willing to pick that verse. You're willing to pick that verse as valid and dismiss another verse as invalid because it's uncomfortable for you. If you keep working that way, you'll find that you can develop your own secular morality, your own ethics, which actually justify what you feel is right and wrong, and you're not bound by some stupid dogma that was written thousands of years ago by some backward roamers who thought they were led around by a pillar of fire at night and that, that manna appeared from heaven to feed them. The Bible is full of specific orders on things, and it's not just Old Testament stuff, it's New Testament as well. If you're going to pick and choose, then you cannot claim that you believe the entire Bible to be literally from God and binding. That's just a fact.